Yep. Dang, I didn't get to eat.
Yeah. The purpose of this project is to shed light on the importance and effects fathers play in our lives. The foundation of a father is more important than we could ever think. Children look to their fathers for strength, encouragement, wisdom, guidance, and even correction. Young men look to their fathers for instruction on how to be a man, how to conduct themselves in society, and how to handle their emotions. Fathers are the first hand example of spirituality or the lack thereof. Oftentimes, not knowing your father can cause identity crisis. At least it did in my case. I believe if I had a chance to get to really know him, I would have made better choices. Now, I'm not blaming him for the choices that I made. I'm just saying we are a direct reflection of the examples that are set before us. So if I had a chance to write a letter to my father today, it would read, "Hey Dad, what's up, everybody? Welcome to our first live roundtable. This is the producers roundtable. My name is Thomas Turner. I'm the visionary, and I'm so excited to have here with me today some of the producers and some past guests. So I'm gonna let everybody introduce themselves. First, we have to my right, Bruce. I mean, Avery. We live, y'all. So we live. So introduce yourself and tell them what your position is.
What's up, everybody? I'm Avery. I'm one of the executive producers on this project. Yeah, we here.
Yeah.
We here.
And Bruce.
I'm Bruce, and I'm in liaison, whatever the hell that means. That's my position. But we here, we live. Let's get it.
All right, all right. Next we have the man who make all of this thing happen. You see him behind the scenes all the time. Never seen his face, but here you go. Mr. Jarrell. What's up, man?
What's going on? What's going on, man? Good to be finally, on Front Street. Good to talk to the good men and have some great conversation and all that good stuff, man. I'm excited.
All right. Before we go any further, man, tell these guys what you do for us.
So, man, I'm all things digital media. So everything you see from the commercials that you see on the social medias, the editing and the shooting and editing. Uh, I'm the person who came in and helped Thomas bring this together, man. He came to the table with an idea, and I was so riveted by what you brought. I said, what could I do and what could I bring to the table that makes this thing come to life? So I've been able to use the gifts that I have to bring your vision to fruition. And everybody now we sitting here, well, more than probably about 5 or 6 months from the first time we had a conversation. And, now we got people, waiting for us to drop and getting really inspired and impacted by what we doing, man. So I'm just thankful for the guys for us to be able to do this.
I'm excited about it, man. This is something that's been on my heart, and to see you guys just bring all of this together for me, man. Not for me, but for the guys that's actually been getting healing through this project. It's amazing. And I mean, like the feedback that we've been getting behind this has been tremendous. And I'm so excited. And I just want to take the time to applaud each and every one of y'all, man. Y'all doing an amazing job. We have two other guests that we have with us today, too. We have Kevin Davis from season part one, and we also have Tony. I'm sorry, I can't get his last name together. Right? Cheatham from part two. Here with us also. They're going to chime in with us in a little bit, but we want to get back to Jarrell for a few seconds. So hold on tight, guys. We'll be right back with y'all in a second. All right.
All right.
Jarrell, we haven't had a chance to talk to you about your relationship with your father yet. So tell us, how was your relationship with your father?
I would say it was cordial for sure. It was it was admiration there, absolutely, because any young man who has any influence from his father, he's going to first be admiration. So I definitely admired him a lot for some of the positive attributes that we had. As a child, he definitely he was around. Him and my mom, they split probably when I was about 7 or 8. That's the last time that we had, I was in like a 2-parent household. I was about 7 or 8 years old. So ever since then, it's been, like I said, social touch base. A lot of the formal moments and the bigger moments he was present for, and supportive for, but it wasn't like a consistent every day I'm around you, or every day I'm talking to you, every day we're building our relationship up. So because of that, over a span of time, like I said, it's cordial. It's no hard feelings, which we'll get into, like how I got to that point. But it's not really, it's cordial, and it's all love,
Right. I got you. I understand. So tell me a little bit about how that affected you as your relationship with your father. Him not the separation affected you as a child.
Um, I believe, but like I said, as a kid, man, I definitely looked up to my dad. I thought he was the coolest person ever. You know what I mean? He was a smart guy. He was very he had a real hustle mentality. He was cool. He was always, the life of the situation, bringing everybody laughter, or making people feel good. He had a way with talking to women that was admirable. He dressed well, so I had a lot of admiration for my dad. Like he was a awesome gentleman in my eyes. Of course, he was really good at exposing me, and I think that played a lot into his understanding of his life and who he was overall, and how much he wanted that to impact me or have an effect on me. So I think in God's planning, he had the effect that he needed to on my childhood, to whereas he gave me a lot of the good stuff. Like, my love for hip hop came from my dad. My love for music in general came from my dad. Um, my overall demeanor in terms of my personality, like, I get a lot of that from him. I can be straight laced and forward, or I can be very jovial and happy, and all of that. I can be social as well. So I think a lot of that came from him. So like I said, I think as a child, he had the impact on me that he needed to, but because of inconsistency, I didn't get a chance to see the things that might have steered me in other directions. So I guess it was a little blessing in disguise.
Okay.
Yeah.
So he helped you out with your love for music and all that kind of stuff. I like that,
Yeah,
man.
man. It was crazy because one of the memories is two very solid hip hop memories for me that have, made me the person that I am today in terms of my love for music. One, he had a red Jetta, a red Volkswagen Jetta, and I'm talking about, my dad's the type, he's still to this day, and he has some levels of disability, like physically, at this point. So he still washes his car almost every single day. Like, he makes sure it's clean. So that Jetta was candy red. It was a bad Jetta, and I have been told stories and have like those slight glimpses of like being like 3 years old singing "Naughty by Nature" hip hop hooray in the back seat. Like that was one of the first hip hop songs I ever knew, and I'd be in the back jamming. And then the second one, my mom made him teach me some new words to gin and juice because he was like I'm talking about like Scarface, Tupac, Biggie, Devin the Dude, like he listening to all of that. So I learned gin and juice like as a young kid, and of course your 3, 4, 5-year-old kid can't be out here singing, sipping on gin and juice. So my mom made him teach me another alternative, which was like apple juice or something like that, so that I wouldn't say what the actual song was saying. So he definitely gave me a heavy influence in my love for hip hop.
Right. Awesome. So, and you fast forward that to you as a man, as a young man. You one child, right?
Yeah. Just had him. He's just almost 9 months.
You newly married also, right?
Say it again.
Newly married, about
just hit a year. Just hit a year October.
Congratulations,
awesome.
man! Congratulations.
Appreciate it.
Awesome. Now, how did your father influence you as a young man? A young man.
So that's where I would say like it was more of a deterrent or like a label of like yeses and nos. I was able through just growing up, just the type of person I am. I'm really like a don't throw the baby away with the bathwater type, if that's that old saying. Where I can take what I need from a situation and leave what it is that I don't need. And I feel like that's kind of the influence that he had on me growing up. As I say, I'm kind of looking from an outside in. We didn't really have a intimate relationship where I knew the ins and outs of him, he knew the ins and outs of me. It was just like, like father and son respect aspect, and like I said, all love. When we saw each other, it was always, good energy, but we didn't know each other intimately. So I was watching from an outside standpoint, and watching some of his functions as a man. It was like, okay, I think I can think of some alternative ways to do things that don't involve, some of the ways that you handle stuff. Like he's very respectful. He always lead with respect for everybody, but he has a very short fuse in terms of disrespect. You know what I'm saying? And from where he grew up, like, because he's from Palmer Park in PG County. So, well, from DC to Palmer Park. So he's definitely been around some areas where, that temper put him in situations. I say that.
Right.
And so, I've witnessed my father do, things in anger that's like, man, I don't want to move like that. It's like I don't even have a temperament that can explode on cue like that. If I'm getting to that level, it's very calculated. I know exactly what I'm doing. It's not like I'm blanking. Where I saw him, and I think that was a lesson learned from seeing him, blank in moments, or hearing stories of him blanking in moments. I've witnessed my dad like rumble cops before, like in a real way, heard stories about him rumbling cops. But that's always the crazy part, because he was like a hood superhero to me as a kid, because it's like he's the oldest of 3, so, or the oldest of 4 rather, and so he had the same old story. Like, I gotta protect my brothers and sisters. Like, his dad was absent after a certain point in time because him and my grandmother split. And then his mom was treating him a certain way for reasons unbeknownst to me, mostly because he gravitated towards his father. So it's a lot of there. So I've heard plenty of stories, and it's like, yo, I don't think I want to move through life like that. So let me look at it a different way. I think about just as a man, the fact that I have siblings, and love them to death, but we all have different moms. Like, I had a smooth, like, bar none, that I'm not trying to do that. Like, And was that a lesson learned? I feel like absolutely. I feel like, some things he necessarily might have had to go through based off his upbringing and all that good stuff. I was able to get to a place where I understood that. Like, he went through things, and the blessing in that is he went through them, but I can also be smart enough to look at what he's gone through and not make the same, decisions that's not in my best interest.
So in that realm, as a father, how do you navigate the things that he taught you, or the things that you seen that you didn't want to be due to being the father that you are today? How did you
Yeah, I think the biggest aspect for me, um, I would say authenticity. Like, he modeled authenticity. Like, he was always gonna be in. He talks about that to this day. He talks about, like, some of the friends in my age bracket. My dad's in his mid-60s, so it's like the people in my age bracket is not trying to listen to what I'm listening to in the car. So if that ain't what you trying to do, I ain't about to change for y'all. Like, so if that's not what you feeling, then don't ride in my car. Like, that type of energy. So the level of authenticity that he modeled for me, I definitely took into my manhood, and I definitely want to instill that in my child as well. I want to make sure that my son know, like, you can be whoever you want to be. You don't have to be anybody in terms of appeasing other people. I think we live in a society today, especially as young black men. We taught that we gotta be hood, we gotta be, you know what I'm saying, just to fit in, just to be a part of the crowd, if you will, or just to be black. As a black man, you gotta have a level of, thuggery to you in order to give respect. And he was one, because of the environment he came up from. He's like, I've already see that you don't have that in you. You're not that type of individual, and I'm not about to make you that. And don't let nobody else make you that. You don't have to assimilate to that type of energy. So that was something that I carried, and that's a conflict because I wanted to do hip hop. You know what I'm saying? Being a hip hop artist, that's the ones that get the most love. They the ones that have been in the street. They the ones that have toted the gun. They done been all of that. I wasn't that individual, so him instilling in me, like, nah, you still be you. Like, be you and make music the way you want to do it. So that's definitely something I'm carrying on. Like I said, the temper thing, I never really got that anyway, so that wasn't really a conflict. Um, Being married and establishing my family and wanting to be consistently around for my family is another thing that I definitely uh, learned in opposition of what I saw there. So that's pretty much how it go.
Oh, okay. Awesome. Now, here come the letter. If you write a letter to your father, how's it gonna look? What would it say?
It would say, "Dear Dad, um, actually, hey, would y'all mind if I did something? I got a piece actually that kind of summates what this is. Like, it was a homage to my dad."
Bring it
Do it,
on. Bring it
man.
on.
Let's
Bring it
do
on.
it. Let's do it.
So as I said, he's connected me to my love for hip hop. So that's kind of where I draw from. So I say, my how the time goes. My flow glow heating up now, but the time froze. Microwave rap, I'm slow cooking like vinyl, and I ain't hit my prime no, but my rhymes go. Remember back when I was on the mattress, isolated in my room, mom's doing taxes, Ludacris playing, and I'm trying to rap it. Bound by the beat, word control had me captive. Since a youngin', see your spirit been a part me. Singing naughty by nature in the car seat. Since age 2, hard beats been my heartbeat, and that's the start. We grew together from beginning. We ain't choose each other. We put together. We were brothers, ain't refuse each other. We gonna make a way through this life, never lose each other. We gonna make a way. We'll never lose each other. So it's like, in essence, thank you for what you gave me because it made me who I am. All the good, all the bad, everything. And I mean, it goes on. I ain't gonna give it all, but
Man, that was
yeah,
dope. That was real dope. I like that, man. I like that.
y'all can go listen to that on any way you listen to your music. That song's called Homage. So if y'all want to go check that out, y'all can.
Appreciate
what's up, man.
shameless plug, man. But appreciate
Shameless, my bad. You know I had to. You know what I'm saying?
Appreciate it, man. Thank you for your story, man. It was awesome. We appreciate it.
Absolutely. And I mean, it's cool because that's kind of, you know what I'm saying, that's the purpose behind. I got my brand on right now. Not to do another shameless plug, but I got my brand on. I was looking for my letters to my father's shirt. My wife doing laundry right now, so that was the whole thing. But yeah, but Pat, like that's the passion behind it, man. Like my story is a lot of where I draw from and how I make my art. Both, you know, as a projection to the general public, but also like drawing personally. Like that's where a lot of my art come from. So even this project, you know, how important fatherhood is to young black boys. You know what I'm saying? I'm a teacher as well, so I see every day in and out the difference between having a strong black man in your life and what that does to young black boys. So this project is right along and right in alignment with like the purpose for overall for me. So like I said, once again, appreciate the opportunity to share the story, but also help others share the story. You know what I mean?
Awesome, man. I appreciate it. Thank you so much, Jarrell.
For
Appreciate
sure,
that.
for sure.
Now, listen, if you have any questions or any comments, feel free to put it in the chat. We will respond to them. Whenever we get a chance, we respond to them. We have people taking down your questions or your comments. We look forward to talking to you. Just feel free to put them in the comments. So next, I want to ask these guys, what brought y'all on, and what made y'all willing to be a part of this project? So first, let's start with Avery here. Avery, what made you want to? When I came to you, what made you want to join this project?
Yeah, I mean, coming onto this project, it was being a new father. It was something I'd always been a mentor in some ways to different people. And when I became a father, I thought it would be very similar, and it was extremely different. Um, you get a different sense of not necessarily pride, but a different sense of responsibility when it's your child, no matter how
old is your child?
My child is some months after one. Some months after one. Yeah, it's sort of like a relationship. After you get hit a year, you go by the year.
Right,
you know what I mean?
right.
We hit a year, she won. But it was a different sense of responsibility. And you know, I know a lot of people have father figures, but there isn't quite nothing that can replace a father. You can come real close to it. And I felt, at least, and I'm speaking from my own perspective, but that sense of responsibility I felt with my daughter, and then Pops, when you brought this idea up, it was almost like directly in line because I started seeing different people and not necessarily critiquing, but I was like, "Hey, you a father and you doing that?" Or "Dang, you got somebody under you that you responsible for and you allowing that to happen?" Or "You not asking enough questions about that?" Or you know what I mean? And I became more inquisitive about the mindset of people who were in this role before me, yet weren't doing what I thought would be essential to that role.
Gotcha.
Gotcha.
Awesome. Bruce, same question.
Well, you know, you and I over the years have had conversations, had conversations about several things. And when you came to me with this idea, I felt like it was the perfect platform, not only to tell our story, but for people that went through and go through similar situations that we do, to put their life out there, put their situations out there, and hopefully be able to shed light on the younger generation, and provide help when we can help. Because I've always been taught growing up that my story ain't just for me. So therefore, putting my story out and the struggles I went through as a father, and the struggles I went through with my father, uh, it's going to reach somebody and teach somebody. So to be able to have a platform or be supportive of a platform that's actually going to help somebody and teach somebody how to change whatever situation you in, I was all for the ride, bro.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Now we have Tony and Kevin. Y'all were participants, and it was easy for y'all to be participants. And
Yeah.
so let's start with Kevin. Kevin, when we talked about it, you was like, I'm on it. You know what I mean? So what made you want to be a part of this?
To let everybody know where I came from and where I'm at now. You know, being without a father, it is very hard, but you still can make it. Um, you don't have to blame anyone for someone not being there. It's just you got to change a lot of things. So I just wanted people to hear my journey, my life, and everything like that, and hopefully I can help someone else out. That hear my story. They say, "Oh, I can relate to him. Let me go get some information." A younger brother or sister, they can get information from me because a lot of people don't want to take advice for someone and they ain't never been there.
Mm-hmm.
But
Right.
since I've been there without parents in my life or something like that, it's easy for me to tell somebody how, you know, it's easy to get advice, give advice to someone instead of me
Right.
just never been through and try to give somebody advice. Nah, that's good. So I just want everybody to hear where I came from and where I'm at now.
Awesome. Awesome. And Tony, you reached out to me. You was like, hey, look, man, check this out. And so what made you so eager to want to tell your story, man?
I'm a strong believer in God connecting people who when they need to be connected to Him. So when I saw the idea, one, I wanted to support another brother that was doing something positive.
Thank
Two,
you.
I recognized that, oh, for sure. And two, I recognized that I had some unresolved issues that I probably needed to work through, stemming all the way from childhood. So I'm up there and listening to Jarrell date me, saying he was like 3 years old when Naughty by Nature came out. He was listening to it. Hey, man. But that let me know how long I've been holding this stuff in and it needed to have an outlet to get out or whatever. So when you proposed this and you put it out there, I was like, I gotta jump on this because I didn't go to therapy. I didn't do anything like that. But I don't have a problem with putting my stuff out there to an avenue that I think deserves it. So that's why I reached out to you and I wanted to discuss it. And and to rehash what everything I said before, it was a lot that I discussed. But I gotta say, my dad over the years, the short amount of years or whatever, has been putting in the work to reconcile how our childhood was or whatever. So just this past holiday, we spent a lot of time together. He went with me to the cigar bar. We've been really bonding, doing this bonding thing or whatever. So it's kind of erasing some of the things that I think he fell short of when we were kids, me and my brother. So yeah.
Yeah, go ahead, Bruce.
Hey, so Kevin, I remember what was the first
Yes.
episode, right?
Yeah.
First episode, man, we had a time, bro. We had a conversation going before the actual interviews with all the guys that was there. Tony, I didn't get a chance to meet you. I've been MIA for the last two seasons. I mean, the last two episodes. You know,
Mhm.
because I'm doing what we are here to do, being a father.
Mhm.
I have an active 12. Well, she's
Yeah.
13 years old. I have an active 13-year-old that requires my time and work full time. So the last couple of episodes I wasn't able to be a part of. But I look back on the conversations that Kevin and I had amongst the other guys, and they were powerful all by themselves. And then to walk away from those conversations into your everyday life, it's an impact. So anybody that's involved or have an opportunity to sit at a round table and just have these conversations, if you don't walk away with it being impactful in your life, I think you at the wrong table.
Right. Right. Right.
Yeah.
Because we had some great conversations.
Yeah. Because them round tables was nothing short than of amazing. Both times. You know what I mean? Both
Mhm.
times.
Mhm.
Nothing,
And
nothing
I
short
think
of.
what one of the coolest parts about that was each each time we had the round table, somebody at the end made like the outburst of like, man, why don't we have more of these type of things? Like, why don't we have more of these spaces where we can just sit down and rap and say stuff that, you know, might be looked at as completely outlandish to the outside world, but you got somebody sitting right there next to you that's going to confirm and validate exactly what it is that you feeling without, you know,
Yeah.
without any judgment, without any way of making you feel like any less of a man, or, you know, any way of toxicity. Just, this is authentic feelings that I'm sharing, and I got brothers around me that's going, you know, validate me and hold me up. But also, you know, which we were trying to avoid as much as possible. But it was a lot of accountability that was being passed around on that table as well. You know, we was trying to stay away from the coaching, but when somebody had, you know, a positive attribute to add to the situation, they was more than happy to share, and folks was more than happy to take that in, to the point where we was asking more questions. Well, how would you approach this situation? How would you? So I think that aspect as well was really valuable, because it's a very scarce place to find that level of validation and accountability without it feeling super heavy or super, you know,
Yeah.
deterring. So I think that's a blessing too of what we've been putting together.
I can't
Mhm.
wait for the next round table that we all can sit down and meet and have another one.
Mhm. Yeah,
You
that
know,
should be
Next time, yeah,
that should be
maybe we can bring
that
some
should be a
cognac
collection
or something, cigar
of
around
season
the
1 and season 2. It should be
Yeah.
like that. Put
people
everybody around
really
this
want to
big
watch it.
table and
Yeah.
make sure you got enough chicken and libations like you had last time, so we can do the cigar pass out.
When
All right?
we will, we will.
It's
We
all
gonna
Hey,
right.
make sure
we
we good. We gonna make
we
sure we
gotta do
good.
one off camera so we can really say what we want to.
All right. So and that's gonna be when during the end we're gonna talk about some of the plans for next year, and that's one of the things that we're talking about doing a larger scale of a round table for next year. So will you right there on it, Tony. Bruce, what was you going to say?
I'm gonna say people are watching, and I'm gonna tell you why. Shortly, I think it was after the first or second season, my now 21-year-old daughter called me and said she watched it in tears because a lot of things that I said she didn't know about.
Wow.
And from that point on, our relationship has built. And that's what she was about. She was like, you know, watching that interview, and not just from what I said, but what other guys said, what you said, Kevin, what Thomas said, what Avery said. She watched a lot of that, and it made her think about a lot of things that transpired in the transition of, you know, her and her mother and I being divorced and all of that, and everything that happened in between. And she reached out to me. She called me one morning while I was at work in my truck, and we had this conversation. And that, you know, so people are watching. You know, it may not be the fan base or the level as to where we want to be, but if you reach one person, this program is doing what it's supposed to do.
And that's a perfect segue into the next question. Our first question that we have for the day is, how was your experience after um, after your interviews? And so, Bruce, you already talked about how that impacted you. So, anybody chime in who want to speak first? Um,
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 oh, go ahead, Kevin. Go ahead, Kevin. You on the first season, so you got the ability. You got it.
for me, I didn't know I was carrying around a lot of burden.
Yeah.
When I was in the room and I started talking and like I'm like, oh my God, when I got home into myself, like I was carrying around all that on my back for years and I never knew that I was doing it. Like one of the brothers said, I never went to therapy. My therapy was trying to handle it
hey,
myself.
Kevin, side note, real quick. Your face. I mean, some of the people, some of the comments that I got, but from just your face on during that time, the hurt and release all at the same time that you showed on your face from that season set a few people free.
Mm.
So I'm just telling you that your breakthrough helped somebody else get free.
Absolutely,
Mm.
absolutely.
Mhm.
So you
I'm
didn't know
glad I
that
can
you was
help.
playing that stuff around, but when you was letting it loose, because you was speaking from the heart, and you could see it in your face that what you were saying was from the heart. You know what I mean? But go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
no, that's all I was pretty much saying. It made me realize that that's all I was doing, occurring around a lot of hurt. And when a lot of hurt is inside of you, it comes out different ways instead of sitting and try to seek help. So this
Mm-hmm.
program for me, I want to continue. I wish we can do it once a month. We can get together once a month and then talk everything out. It, that's the way I felt, because I felt a big relief. Then I started looking at things a little different than I was before. And
Mm-hmm.
for me, that's my positive. And being around positive brothers, I love that. I don't have to act tough enough, and so I got a lot from y'all, and I want to continue on doing it. So count me in always.
Mm-hmm.
You got that. You got that. Tony.
To add on to Kevin, as I said, I didn't even know I was walking around with that kind of stuff in me. I probably just covered it up from years of just being in denial or whatever. But after I did my interview, and it took me a while for me to share my portion of the interview or whatever, because it was like some kind of, after I walked out of there, I was like, we did the round table, we wrapped up, and there was a little fellowship going on after we had wrapped up, and I felt this conflict in me or whatever. Like, should I have really admitted all the stuff about my dad? I love my dad, but it was some things that wasn't right or whatever and all that. So I had to leave. I left not because I had to get home or anything, but because I had to deal with what I was feeling when I finished talking and doing the interview. So that was freeing in itself. And driving home, I thought about the entire process of everything I said and everything like that. And then my wife watched it, and we talked about it a little bit too, as well, when it got released. And she said he did a great job. So if nothing else, this was for me to release some inner conflict that I had in myself, and I'm glad I did, because it feels like now when me and my dad get together, now it's a different concept and mindset when we're dealing with each other. Rather than
Yeah,
that's my old man, now it's like he's a friend, but still my dad. Like it's something.
yeah,
Yeah, awesome. Avery.
Yeah, I was gonna say, when we think about, or at least the way I thought about a parent before this process began, was what it was or what it is what it was or what it is, and that's it. This process really allowed me to become more evolving. Especially with a new child, I'm understanding more the flexibility I have in growing while allowing her to grow and growing with her. Likewise, I'm seeing more of the ability to allow the relationship with my father to evolve, not being stuck on what it is or what it was, but allowing it to change, allowing it to be different or grow or not grow, or you know get bigger, get smaller, whatever. It can change. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
A lot of the story, even, and I obviously had the pleasure of hearing a lot of y'all interviews. Even hearing some of y'all stories and hearing Tony, I'm not gonna lie to you, man. I'm very happy to hear that you and your father on good terms, because when we it wasn't all that positive last time. You know what I mean? We talked, um, but it was necessary.
Mm-hmm.
It was necessary, and I told Pops a million times. I was like, "Yo, you call Kevin today. You
Uh-huh.
check on Kevin today, man. How you been since? You know what I mean? Because I saw how much pain y'all both had, and this was before today. Today, now I'm noticing that y'all have even went through further growth. But before that, I realized things don't have to be what they are; they can change.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and that was through hearing y'all. You know what I mean? So, the
yes.
link to the previous season, y'all go to YouTube, go to Awful Conductor. You can watch all the episodes through there.
YouTube. It's the Letters My Father YouTube page.
Can I add to what Avery just said?
Letters go to my Letters to My Father YouTube page, and also the links are all in Letters to My Father Facebook page also.
It's a wonderful thing to be able to restore and rebuild your relationship with your dad. Unfortunately, in my brother and I situation, we didn't have that opportunity.
Yeah, he
And
passed away. I'm sorry, I'm not cutting you off. He passed away right at
as we was building.
Right as we was building, and it's like him and my dad had a relationship. They started building a relationship long before me and my dad did. And it's like my dad died the day before. I actually had a chance to, you know, what I mean, he actually apologized the day before he died for things that he did, and so it's like that day when I seen him on the subway is the day that he apologized. He passed away the next day. So I never had a chance to talk to him about how I felt. And 30 years later, I thought I dealt with all of those issues. And then 30 years later is when I actually had to come to grips that I'd never dealt with those issues. And so all the stuff that I dealt with back then, I ain't mean to take over your spot, man, Bruce. I apologize. But all the stuff that I dealt with, I've been dealing with for all of those years. You know what I mean? And that I thought I actually had dealt with, I never dealt with, you know, and I actually come to grips with that, man, I need to really work through this thing. You understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And I really, really, really got to work through this thing. And so,
But you know what the thing is, though? Go ahead, man. Go ahead.
But now, so what I was getting at is that, you know, the opportunity to build a relationship with your dad before time expires is a wonderful. And I take my hat off to you guys that do that. You know, I often sit back and wonder what my relationship with my dad would be like today. You know, my parents never got an opportunity to meet my younger kids. You know, I'm actually, my son, my dad died in exactly a month and 10 days before my son was born.
yeah.
So my parents never got an opportunity to. Well, my dad never got an opportunity to meet my kids. And so, you know, I often, and I don't know if I said this in my story before, but my dad died in my presence. He died in my apartment. You know, he stayed the night at my house and had a heart attack the next day. You know, so you know, I carry a lot of that guilt. Their relationship with their dads, and for me to try and be the best father that I possibly, but none of us are perfect. Ain't none of us perfect, and we don't want nobody to walk away from this program that we put in that's being showed as perfect dads. None of us are perfect.
Nope.
Go ahead, man.
None of us are perfect. Yeah. The fact is that we're doing our best to be in our kid's life and show them that, you know, we're there. Period. As fathers, as husbands, as brothers, we in our kid's life.
Man. Anybody else want to comment on that question before we move to the next one?
Man, I just wanted to say it was extra special to me.
Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, you can hear you.
Yeah, you good?
Yeah.
About to say it was extra special
Kevin,
to me.
Tony?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah,
can
we good.
Are we frozen on there?
I can hear you. I can hear you.
I can't hear you, Jarrell. We froze. Something happened.
I think that's on y'all side.
Yeah, it's on y'all side.
First, let's start with Avery. Avery, what made you? I can't hear you.
They hear y'all.
They hear us?
Yeah.
Yeah,
we froze. Something happened. I don't know what happened to my screen.
Yeah, so it's y'all.
Step out of the camera.
I don't know what happened. Something happened to my screen.
They giving y'all thumbs up.
Go ahead, hang up. Yeah, hang up.
Huh?
Hit hang up.
Hang up?
Yeah.
We're gonna have a brief a brief moment for technical difficulties. They should be back momentarily.
All right.
1 second, folks.
Go ahead.
All right. Y'all back.
All right, cool.
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
know what happened. I apologize.
Oh no, it's
No
all good.
problem. No
We
problem.
just gonna keep it moving
Good.
because that's what we do.
Yeah.
But no, I
I was
was
gonna say, and I want to pose this question to the participants. Well, I'll get to the question after I say what I say. They the opportunity. My fault, 'cause there was a lot going on. The opportunity to build. I'm learning with your father does not require your father's presence.
Hmm.
Um,
Nah.
I'm learning that the opportunity, and I'm saying this, to y'all, but I'm saying this for the hopes of somebody else hearing this out in the world. But the opportunity to build with another person, not all the time requires that person's presence. Like how we talk about the phrase, like forgive and forget, and all this other stuff. And I'm not forgiving for you, I'm forgiving for me, and all those good old sayings we say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When it comes to building, sure, there won't be new memories. There won't be new opportunities to do things that you didn't have a chance to do. There won't be new things, but the foundation to build does not require that person. The reason I say that, and Jarrell, your story touched me because we got a lot of similarities between our stories. You had mentioned that you saw your dad as a hood superhero. You know
facts.
what I mean? And I think I mentioned something, and if I didn't mention, I said it at one point in my life about how coming up, everything my dad did was the norm. It was the
Mhm.
foundation because that was all I knew as his child. This is my standard, my basis of what X, Y, or Z means. And I built that on my own. You know what I mean? My
Okay.
dad didn't say, this is how a man is supposed to do X, Y, Z. I
Yeah,
saw what I saw as a man. He was doing X, Y, and Z. I wanted to be a man, therefore I did X, Y, and Z. My,
absolutely.
my sister, Livy, I'm gonna put you out there if you watching. My sister wanted to be a man. She did whatever she saw me and her brother doing. My fault, Livy. My fault. It's 2023, y'all. But
Liberation.
but with
Positive.
the difference, and the question I want to pose to the group, the participants, is the difference is after this experience, I felt a lot more intentional around my daughter. Intentional in what she saw, what she heard, what I did. Not on everything, but I wasn't just living. I became more. I hope this is something that sticks with you. I hope this is something that lands with you. I hope you heard this. That became part of my daily prayer. Intentionality, and I wanted to ask: has intentionality changed in y'all lives since this process began?
About to say, bro, that's literally what I was gonna say in terms of my experience because as y'all saw, like I just gave my story on for the letters to my father and my letter and all that. So I was always just behind the scenes being an active listener. You know what I mean? And the fortunate part is that we got an opportunity to speak to a large age range of people. So I got to see men in different stages of their fatherhood. And that, like you said, Avery, that as a young father, literally when we started this conversation in July, um, I literally just had my son like 4 months ago. So I'm literally in the infancy stage of fatherhood at this point. So to be able to hear, tenured fathers, if you will, and listen to their wisdom, listen to their ups and downs, listen to their wins and their losses, it put me in a space of like, man, I got a much bigger playbook to go off of than I originally had. Because one thing that I will say in terms of my own idea of fatherhood, I had to construct fatherhood and manhood in the masses. You know what I'm saying? I had to pull from everywhere that I could
Yeah.
to kind of piece together what I thought a man was. The blessing in that is because as I said before, I got to pick my own attributes. But at the same time, I would feel like it's a little bit easier to have at least some type of litmus test in terms of who a man is and who a father is. So now I get to listen to everybody, take what they got, and now, like you said, be more intentional about what it is that we're doing.
Yeah. So I like that. I like that. And then as far as the
Yeah.
intentionality piece, Avery, when it comes down to it, I am intentional to um try my best to be my daughters are grown, right? And so I have nephews and I have grandkids. So my job is to steer them in the direction that they can be the best that they can ever possibly be, and to be the best example of a leader in their lives that I could possibly be.
Mm-hmm.
If that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Not just by what I
It makes
tell them to
sense.
do, but by the way I live my
Your
life.
actions. Your actions.
You know what I mean? And
Mm-hmm.
and anybody who know me, Kevin worked with me. So and Tony been out with me. So
Mm-hmm.
and my children know me and Avery know me. So when you see me at my home or you see me in the streets, I'm the same person. You know what I mean? So when my children see me and when my kids see me, I mean when my friends see me and when my kids see me, it's the same person. You
Yeah.
understand what I'm saying? And that's my goal, is to show them that, what I mean, I'm not teaching them something that I'm not living.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
All
And
right.
every example and everything that I tell them that is something that I'm doing is not something that I'm just telling them how to live. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
not living the same way myself.
Yeah.
Right. Right.
You know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean? So what about you two guys?
Yes, I try, and it's every day because I got stepkids. So everything that I'm doing, I try to let them
You
see
got
what I'm
bonus
doing
kids.
and
We
keep
don't
the
call them
same
step
way.
kids. They bonus
And,
kids.
yeah, and let them see the same way. I try to be the same way always, and I always tell them I'm the same way since the first day you met me, and I'm always be. I'm not gonna change no more. I'm too old to try to change or fit in. It, this the way you're gonna accept me. I'm not a loud person. I'm not a missive person. I'm not an angry person. This what you're gonna get from me. You don't have to fit in to be popular. People gonna love you like you are, and that's why I try to teach them, and I try to show them the same way. Get up every day and go to work, come home, be a family man, a father, a husband, a friend. But I'm the same way in every environment, and for me, it works. It really works for me. It works for
Mm-hmm.
them too because they already know that. Oh, he the same. He gonna say no. This what he gonna say no about. So I gotta make sure my homework done, this done, and that done, or he ain't gonna give it to me. So
Right.
I'm the same always. So for me, and now when it when I look at it that way, I feel good because I am doing something because they know I haven't changed on them, and they don't have to change for their friends. They can be the same and who they really are.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm hoping that they keep doing it the way they doing it.
About you, Tony?
So I don't have any grandkids. I don't have any nieces and nephews, anything like that. Or what I do have my wife's sister's son, who's basically my only nephew or whatever. So he right now is 16 years old. So I met him when he was nine years old or whatever.
Okay.
I've always been consistent. And I met him when my own kids were grown. So I thought that the thing of having to be a role model for anybody's children or anything like that was done until I met him. Um, so he looks up to me from what I've been told by my wife. So I try to lead by example without letting him know that I know he's looking at me and the actions that I do. So of course I treat his aunt right. I'm always respectful to his
That's good.
mother, things like that. So that's the example that they need to lead. He needs to follow. As far as people I know, people know they can count on me because I'm always the same no matter what I do.
That's good.
I haven't met many people who don't like me, and even if they didn't like me, it wouldn't be a concern of mine for real, for real. But I haven't met anybody who has not respected me as an individual. If you haven't, and you just try to manufacture some reason not to respect me or at least respect me or whatever, try to or like me or whatever, not then that's something that's going on with you. That ain't got nothing to do with me because I live the way I live. Period. And you look up to you either respect me or I ain't gonna be around you. Period. That's all it
Right.
is. And I know that from when the first 5 minutes of meeting you. So Thomas, right off the gate, you know what I'm saying? I already knew that you was a cool dude. So that's how we
Mm-hmm.
round up. That's how we want
Appreciate
to do, man.
Yeah.
So
From
yeah,
from
that's
day
it.
one.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
it.
Oh yeah.
And so you took me to a question that I got for the group, and is that we are all men, and
Mm-hmm.
we all have influences over other people in our lives some kind of way. Do
Mm-hmm.
you believe that it's your responsibility to be an example in your community, not just in your own?
I
Absolutely.
gotta I gotta add
Yes.
on this. I
Yes.
gotta add on this. It's most definitely
Yes.
because I
Yes.
just watch the news on a regular. I'm seeing the rise in carjackings and all this other stuff that wasn't around when we was kids like that. Even you, Jarrell, like that wasn't too long ago, so I'm still. But I ain't seen
That was
no
like
rise
15
in
minutes ago for
random
Jarrell.
stuff like that when we growing up. It wasn't no stuff like random carjackings and all that stuff for whatever reason. It just don't make sense. So me living the way I live or whatever, and I ain't trying to hold nothing over no kids' head, nothing like that. Like, hey, you need to aspire to be like this or whatever. I'm like, look, I came from where you came from with all that, but I just knew the way to make the right decisions because I knew they was going to impact my life some kind of way up the line. And if I didn't live a certain kind of way, based on what my mom told me, I can't say my dad at that time, but it kept me from a lot of situations that would have hindered me later on up the line, or at least made it harder for me to try to succeed as an individual. So I know these kids are like looking or whatever. So through my fraternity or whatever, I try to do the thing that volunteer for situations that I know it's going to impact kids and all that stuff like that. Just anything that to this next generation because it seems like they just out of control. And I just and that's not to say the generations where y'all have y'all kids, but this one that's right after us or whatever and all that, and like they're 20s, sometimes 30s, and maybe early 40s. I don't know what's wrong with them. I just don't know what's going on right now. It's just ridiculous. So even if you can impact another man by the way you
Yeah.
live, that mean you done a lot. I mean a lot right there without even saying anything.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
was about to say. I think, and this just came. This is a new thought. I've not thought this before, but I think as men, we focus on the ones who are doing what they're doing
Mm-hmm.
more than we focus on the ones that are responsible for them.
Mm-hmm.
And I think about how many men around my age bracket right now who are doing stuff that I don't agree with, and I just slice them. I isolate myself from them. They done. I'm done with them. But
Mm-hmm.
they still responsible for somebody under them
Mm-hmm.
who become the next
Yeah.
generation, and then vice versa.
Yes.
And then they look, and I think it starts with us checking the ones on our level. You know what I mean? I was gonna say,
Absolutely.
especially,
Mm-hmm.
hold on, Uncle Nut, hold on, I see
I'm
your
listening.
hand. No, especially when even with the with looking, even people above us, I'll say we can even check them. I think um one of the things that used to separate me and my father was age. Then it became, well, you a father, I'm not a father. But in the realm of manhood, we are both two individual men who are responsible for somebody under us.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
there shouldn't be a reason why I can't talk to him and tell him
Mm-hmm.
when he's doing wrong or doing right, and vice versa. It shouldn't be any man in this
Absolutely.
world that I can't confront with an issue. Not necessarily get, you know what I mean. We still keeping it
Disrespectful.
Christian,
Right.
you know what I mean. But I think it's what brought me to that is because when we asked y'all about intentionality, y'all went to I don't have any dependents. Um, you might not have any dependent children, but there's still people dependent on you.
That's what made me go
You know what I
there.
mean?
That's
And
what made
there's
me
still
go
other
there.
men,
Yeah.
whether they on your level or even your own fathers, they can still learn from you. You know what I mean? And I think as men, we tend to think about how we can directly affect something, and if we can't directly affect it, it ain't got nothing to do with us.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Versus thinking
Right.
about how we are at the middle of all of it. because
You're right.
if the men in a certain neighborhood didn't allow something, that neighborhood would not be selling drugs.
Man, I'm telling you.
Yeah.
And
To
I
piggyback
okay.
off of what Avery just said, a lot of times, I want to go back to a incident that was in the news
Mm.
with Carver. That kid, his parents took him up there to shoot that kid. The
Yes.
domestic. His
Yes.
parents
Yeah.
took him up. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah, yeah,
so
yeah.
you ask about as men do, outside of our household, do we feel that we, should be role models or, have people look up to us outside of our household? That's because if you can't be a good parent, the kid's going to look up to somebody.
They're gonna look up to
They're
somebody.
going to look up to somebody. And, that brought me to what I said earlier about, we don't know who's watching this. We don't know who is touching or who is helping. But we know it's helping somebody because I'm living proof that it's helping somebody. I've got a phone call for it.
Mm-hmm.
And I said also that the story that each one of us has told throughout these series, it's not specifically for us. Our story is helping somebody else. You know, and I'm a strong believer that the way I carry myself, whether on camera, whether at home, outside of my home. And I preach this all the time to my wife and my daughter. What I do outside this home is a direct reflection to my household.
Mhm.
So therefore, I can't,
Yeah.
yeah, to not embarrass my kids, my wife, and myself, I've always got to remain in a positive realm.
Mhm.
Is it helping somebody else? I'm sure it is because guess what? I watch other people and how they do things and certain things that they say, and it helps me. And like Kevin said, I believe it was, he said he take. Oh no, it was Jarrell said he takes what he needs and leave the rest. And
Yes.
that's what we do, as positive as we possibly can. When people that we don't know are watching, we giving them information and they take what they need and leave the rest.
Yeah. I
So
think it's like
you
a
know about
Go
these
ahead.
kids,
oh go ahead, go ahead.
carjack and all that. My wife and I had a conversation, and I'm real passionate about that because I I hurt myself chasing a kid, chasing a kid that broke into my neighbor's car. I was out of work for a whole week because I wanted, and in my mind, not thinking at the time, my wife and I walking out the door, and this guy hanging out my neighbor's back of his car, trying to steal his car. And I ran after him with slippers on, and I fell. And only thing in my mind is I wanted to take this kid, and God knows what I would have done if I would have caught him. But then after sitting back thinking, it was like, who is his role model? Now that we speak of it, who is his role model? You know, he didn't learn this all on his own. Somebody taught him to do this.
Mhm.
So that brings, us to the point of, like you said, I mean, do we feel like we need to be advocates outside of our home as well? And absolutely, I believe we do.
So once again, guys, if y'all have any comments or any questions, feel free to send them in. We will comment. We'll respond to anything that you have to say. Share this video. Share this live with anybody that you want. We're gonna be on for the next 30 minutes. Am I right, Jarrell? About 30 minutes. We gonna
Yeah,
be on.
that's about good. We actually got a question coming in right now. Let's see. This is coming from oh, it doesn't show. It says, "Do you feel that it's different in the black community as a black father?" So do we feel like we have a different responsibility as black fathers than others have as just regular, in other communities?
I got to add on to that because I just read an article today where a guy, it was a young guy who gave a interview. He said so basically it was him, his black homeboy, and it was a white girl that was in the car. They committed a murder or something like that in a home invasion. The black guy who did the interview got 55 years. His homeboy got 30 years. The white girl who was also part of it, and as you know, if you're part of it, if you're there, you're pretty much considered part of the whatever happened or whatever. She got 9 years and she already got walked out on the street. So
Wow.
that's where you gotta be like, the rules are different. The rules
Mhm.
are different where it doesn't come from it. You can't do the same thing that these other people do or whatever, because as a black young man and a black male or whatever and all that, when you get to court, it's going to change up.
Mhm.
So
Yes, it
that's
is.
where we need to teach our offspring and everybody who's looking at us. Hey, look, you don't want to go down this road because things are going to be different for you when you hit this particular path. It's going to be way different. It's going to be a lot harder for you to dig out. It's going to be a lot harder for you to just to make yourself level again or whatever and all that. While everybody else, well, other races or whatever, all that get to skate.
Yeah.
So that's why, as a black father, only black parents or black fathers can teach that to their offspring.
Mhm.
They have to teach that
And it's
firsthand.
crazy. It's crazy, Tony, because it's the biggest part about that is not only do we have to have that conversation, had a conversation about how many systemic things are already trying to create barriers between you and being successful as a human, but like the age at which that conversation has to start happening. Like I teach fourth grade, so within my school I have first to fourth grade students, and it's like I have no choice but to teach them that reality from that age. They're 9 to 10 years old, and I gotta be real with them and say, listen, it's only gonna be so much more time that you're even viewed, if already. Some of you guys are a little bit taller than others. Some of you have a little bit heavier voice. All of y'all want to walk around with the ski mask on and emulating what you see around you. But the world is gonna treat you exactly as you're presenting, and sometimes a little bit worse than you're actually presenting. So the fact that we had to have that conversation lets us know that it's a different reality that our kids have to face. So it's a different game plan that we got to give them.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
my son is 24. How old is he?
No.
His son
Hey,
30,
30,
30, they like 35.
something.
He, man.
He older than me. He like 31, 32. Yeah, he older than me.
Damn shame, man.
Bob is like 30, 33,
But anyway,
Hey,
34.
mute that out for letting somebody forever. Mute
Yeah,
that
yeah,
out.
yeah, we can meet that up.
Golly.
But anyway,
Hey,
I
hey,
don't.
hey,
Hold on.
Bruce, that boy Bruce, text us your age, brother.
I don't know. I
um,
guess I lost time. But
We
anyway,
lost a few years, bro.
my son, he has a pretty good job at McCormick, right? And I remember, way back when he first started there, he was on Facebook doing some things and whatever, and I had to call him and tell him, look, bro, when you work with a lot of white people, and what you do on social media will reflect you at some point in your life, So stop doing those things that you're doing on social media. And he did, you know.
Moving up in the ranks.
And,
now.
and now in his life, he's changed his life so much, and doing, he's married now and doing a whole lot of things that he should be doing as a young African American man, black man.
So
Like it look like they froze again.
I gotta say that.
yeah.
but while we waiting for them to come back, somebody left a comment saying,
Yeah.
as a teacher, I saw Thomas positively influence many young students and also other teachers who were older than himself, including me at 20 years older than him. I know for certain watching him raise his own children with his wife is a great role model. So
Wow, that's nice.
we got some folks that's chiming in on just how influential you've been, Mr. Turner, on all things. That
It's a
comment
blessing.
left for you.
as a teacher, I saw Thomas Pot. Oh,
Oh,
Man, that's some props right there for real.
Yeah, it
Facts.
is.
Preach.
Yeah,
I thought we was reading.
yes, it is.
Cool,
Well, we
cool. We
want
got
to
a we
thank
got
you.
another question coming in too.
We appreciate you
Yes.
so much.
Yes.
That's one of my most favorite
Yeah,
people
that's good.
in this world. She was one of my teachers at the school when I taught at Arrow Center for Education. I probably shouldn't have said the name of the school, but I scratched that out. But when I was teaching for a little while there, and it was an alternative school, and so some of the children that we had there had issues, and Jarrell, also was some of the things that I used to have to talk to these guys
Hmm.
about is that the way you present yourself is the way society going to see you.
Yep.
You know,
Yes.
Yep.
and so I was part of their careers program, and I would take them on job interviews, and I would have job building programs for them and all this kind of stuff. And if they came to school and they didn't look the part,
Yeah.
it's like they wouldn't want to come to school with pajamas on and all that kind
Yeah.
of stuff. You're not going with me to college program or for a job searching program, and, and you're not looking like you ready for
Hmm.
Right.
the next step in your life. Society
Yeah.
already told you that you're not going to make it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So let's prove them wrong by showing up each and every
Yeah.
day, looking like I'm going to make it.
So that kind of leads to this next commenter's question. Is it harder or easier to be a father when your children are older? Does the parenting change?
That depends. Can that depends. In my case, it's harder because with my older kids, I wasn't in the household. Um, when my ex-wife and I separated, my kids was pretty young. So to actually be able to father them, being who I am and being who she is totally, in my case, and I'm only speaking about my case, it's different, because, when I say one thing, she do another, you know. Um, now, I've watched my brother raise his older kid, raise his kids, and the relationship they have is totally different than the relationship I have with mine. So it depends on the situation and what how you were, where you were when they were living. I mean, growing up as a father, whether you was in a household or out the household, it's always a different situation.
Yeah, I would say that for me, is not whether it's harder or easier. It's different. It's just
Yeah.
understanding that
That's
whether they are two or 32, they're going to be your children.
Right.
Yeah.
And have some level of responsibility for them, and you always going to have a level of responsibility to them. You have an obligation to make sure that your children is always going to be taken care of, because I'm their father. you know
Absolutely.
um and so I'm always going to care for them. I'm always going to hurt for them. I'm always going to be there for them, even though my daughter is married to this wonderful young man right here.
Hmm.
You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Still, when she I still gotta understand. I mean, I gotta learn that once I gave her
Mhm.
over to him, I got to
Mhm.
take the back burner, but I still hurt for
Mhm.
her, and I
Mhm.
still love her. You know what I mean? I still father daughter time still got to be father daughter time. You know
Mhm.
what I mean?
And you got to also
And
let
I
them grow.
and I gotta
Yeah.
let them grow. I gotta
Yeah.
back away.
Yeah.
You got to understand that once they become a certain age, they're their own people. They make their own
Yeah.
decisions. You are there
Yes, they
just
do.
to give them advice and be there to help them when they need help. But at the same time, you got to let them be them. They're going to make mistakes like we made mistakes as becoming fathers and mothers and this, that, and the other. We made our mistakes along the way.
Right.
Yeah, the parenting does
They
change.
got to make
Yeah, because
Did they free?
for
Did they free?
me,
Tony's back.
it for me
Did
it
they
did
free?
change from my kids
Is
when
that,
they was
is that
young,
Kevin?
under
Yeah,
10 years
Kevin.
old.
Kevin, your camera's gone. We can't even see.
Yeah,
I didn't
I
know
thought
you
you were
still there.
gone. Okay, there you go. Wait a minute. No, that's a okay. Kevin.
Go ahead,
Nah, my
Kevin.
camera gone. What?
Okay.
Oh, you hit? Yeah,
Yeah,
for
we can
me,
hear you. We just can't see you.
okay. For me, it did change from when my kids was under 10 years old to teenagers, and my daughter like 20. My daughter 27 now. So all of it changes. I just try to give good advice. But the way I
Mm-hmm.
parent them now from the teenagers, when they do something, I try to get them to understand what they've done.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and try to like, that was wrong, but but I try to get them to understand what they did was wrong.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, it do for every age it do change for me,
Mm-hmm.
and you can't go upside their head when they
Mm-mm.
25 because
You know? Well,
Oh,
I'm going to jump in real quick, and I'm going to
yeah,
add
go
on.
ahead for sure.
I'm going to add on to so as Kevin was saying, at this age, so my son is 27, my daughter's 22. At this point, all you can do is offer them advice.
that's
My
it.
son, I mean, granted, I'm a member of Kappa Alpha Psi. My son went to Omega Psi Phi. That's our whole. That's our whole. That's a whole nother different thing or whatever and all that. That's like our adversaries and all that, but it's still part of the fraternal thing or whatever and all that. But you can only give them advice as adult because they're adults. They're going to take the
Yeah,
lesson that you already gave them growing up, place it against what they think that they've learned, and then try to balance out the two of what they're going to do. But you can only offer
yeah,
advice and then listen. And the thing is that as a parent, if they fall, you got to be there for them when they want to come back and talk to you. If they
yeah,
succeed, just help them celebrate when they're with them succeeding as well. But as a parent at about maybe 2021, you just got to back off and let them make their own good because you already invested all of your advice, all of your good decisions, and everything that you leading by example, and let them see if they take that and run with it. That's all you can do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
okay,
you just gotta teach them. So look, we have because this how the round tables always go. We can always go for the
Yeah.
another 45 minutes here, but
Yeah.
I said we're gonna stick to a time limit and we're gonna cut it off. I said an hour, but we're gonna take an hour and a half. We're gonna cut it off at 4:30. So in wrap up, we have one more question before we go to our wrap up. We have one more question coming in at this moment.
Yep.
Okay.
Um,
Says when you are giving advice to your children, are you open about your mistakes? Are you open about mistakes you made as a young man?
Absolutely. I have been as my children know some of the secrets that I carry. I think I probably was more I'm too honest with my children. I want them to know who I am. Like I told y'all before, I'm not going to tell my children or my grandchildren or my nephews anything that to do this that I am not done. So
Yeah.
I'm an open book. I've told them about my mistakes that I've made, the mistakes that I've made in my relationship with my wife, the mistakes I've made in my relationships within my for my to myself. Um, I think it's important to be open and honest with your children at the right age.
At the right age.
And sometimes at too young, they can't handle it.
Yeah.
They
Or they don't
grow up and
understand.
start resenting you
Yeah.
at the right age and the right maturity level. My children was at the age and at the maturity level that they needed to hear some of the things that I had to tell them. You know what I mean? I've actually preached in the pulpit about some of my past mistakes, so it doesn't matter. You know what I mean? But you know what I mean? I just need. It was necessary that my children understand that you can make mistakes and you can bounce back from your mistakes.
Oh yeah.
yeah,
You aren't
yeah,
the mistakes that you made. You just grow from your mistakes. It's never mistakes aren't the end all of your life. It's just how you grow. That's it.
Yeah.
It's just a part of your living experiences.
So I'm gonna say this. Reading the question. When you're giving advice to your children, are you open to me uh, to the mistakes you made as a young man? That's why you're giving advice because you've been there, you've done that.
Yeah, Bruce.
So
Right. Right.
with my now 13-year-old daughter, I am on her like white on rice. My wife always talk about how hard I am on her, and she tells me that she's good with it because I am hard on her. But I don't, and I tell her all the time, I'm telling you because I know what I did. Some of this, of course she's a female and I'm a male, but some of the mistakes I made, she can make the same mistakes, male or female. It don't matter what the gender is. So I'm telling
No,
you
it don't.
this because I've been there.
Right.
I'm telling you this because I don't want to see you go down the same path that I done already been.
Right.
Truth be told, I did what I did and I made the mistakes I made, so you don't have to.
Absolutely.
That's like God did what he did and went down the road that he did, so we don't have to suffer. Right?
Absolutely.
So that's the same thing as us being parents. We went down the road to do the things that we did and made the mistakes we did, had kids, and now the only thing we can do is give you, our experience. Tell you what happened with us when we did X, Y, and Z. Now it's up to you as the kid to take that information and move on with it. Now, you got a lot of kids out here today that know the mistakes that their parents made and their parents still make, and they still make the same mistakes. Some people you can't help, some people you can.
Right.
So,
they gotta want to make it. They gotta want to make.
They gotta want
to experience.
Right.
They gotta make the change. They gotta
right. Anybody else want to comment on that?
I'm gonna take my segment, this portion or whatever. I'm gonna deviate from the question, and I'm just gonna offer my closing comments now because I might not get another chance to speak. But when this blows up, and I know it's gonna blow up, and you up in season 10 and all that.
Hoping it blow up the right way, man. You ain't talking about blowing it up with no ammunition or nothing now, are you?
No, I'm talking about blow up like you gonna be on like OWN and all this other stuff like that. When you get up there, when this segment gets up there, because this is a powerful thing. When it gets up there, and I don't want you to forget season 1, me. I mean Kevin, and season 2, me. And when you do a reunion of everybody for every season or whatever, just make sure you remember us when you gotta get us all back in there.
Oh, absolutely.
You got that, bro.
That's all I ask.
All right, so that takes us.
We had a good time, bro. I ain't gonna lie.
That takes us to our wrap up. So as I wrap up, any takeaways do we have? Anybody want? Let's close around the table. Let's start with Jarrell. We started with Jarrell. Let's end with Jarrell. Let's start with Jarrell's closing statements about the takeaway from this producers roundtable, live roundtable.
Man, I think overall, man, this was a really cool experience. I think the fact that we had some audience participation also kind of added to the experience as well.
Let's give a round of applause to the audience.
Absolutely, thank y'all for watching. Even if you're watching on the back end, you coming in later, or you're in the rewatch, all of that. Even if you're in the rewatch, you can still drop comments and we'll get back to you as best as possible. But like I said, overall, I think this was a great experience. I think a lot of people are going to take stuff away from this. I definitely took stuff away from this, and I think this is a cooler. I love the interviews. I love the interviews because we getting to hear the individual stories. But we definitely got to do this some more, just because it brings that round table to life for the people that's not there. Like, we had a lot of conversations as a group that wouldn't have necessarily came up in somebody's individual interview. So I think we got to very very much consider moving forward how we're going to incorporate this format into our overall project. Like I think
Yes, I
it'll be
like
very
it. I like
impactful.
it. I like it. Let's go to our participants. Let's start. We started with Kevin. Let's start with brother Tony. Tony, what's your takeaway from today, brother?
As Jarrell said, I want to see this grow. I want to see this grow. I want to see this grow because the foundation of it is so important or whatever. And granted, we were able to meet virtually, but when we were in person, that familiarity that we have with each other, that bond that we have with each other is unmatched. And I hopefully to season 3, when you do the reunion at the end, we get back to that again. Because when we did the hug at the end, when we were wrapping up, that was some strong stuff right there.
Oh,
Right,
Lots
exactly.
of
That's
love.
what we needed. That's what we needed. So
yeah.
I want to see us get to that and get stronger and everything else or whatever. But I love this platform that we did. I'm glad that we were able to even do it this way. I just wanted to do it, period. So when you called in and text me and asked me, am I going to be able to participate? I had no issues at all. I definitely wanted to do it. And I want to see it keep moving forward. Season 3, bigger and better. That's all I want to see.
Appreciate your commitment, man. Brother Kevin, what's your takeaway for today, man?
Wow. I love the way everybody's coming together. The questions and everything people was asking lets me know everybody's out there like listening to us and listening to our stories. Um, I love the round table, like actually being there. But this is cool too to get to
Yeah.
know brothers and and let everyone else see that what we're doing is positive, and they can reach out to us and talk to us about everything, anything they want, any questions they need. We're right here for them. So I do love it, and keep me posted with everything. I'm there.
Appreciate you, brother Kevin. Brother Bruce, appreciate you, man. What's your takeaway from today, man?
To be honest,
Without the tears, man. Golly.
to be honest, this is,
Oh,
there is
man.
no one takeaway from it, right? Because you know the questions from the viewers, the conversation. There is so much to take away from just the conversation we had, and that brings me back, to season 1 with Kevin. Man, it's a powerful thing for men to sit back and talk about our weaknesses
Yeah.
and to be able to walk away and still feel like a man.
Yes, sir.
You understand?
Yes, sir.
Because I understand that in life, we're not immortal. We have feelings. And a lot of people, a lot of men today, black men particularly, think that you have to live a certain type of way or have to be 6'10" or and bodybuilding and all that to feel like a man. Bro, we men and we vulnerable. We need to rely on and lean on the next man sometimes for a come up.
Yes, sir.
So for not necessarily a come up, but to boost our morale.
Yes, sir.
And that's what I think all the ones that I've had interaction with. Because like I said, in the last 2 episodes I wasn't here. But and I hope I've lifted them in some way. Because man, let me tell you, before the table, there was a round table.
I know. I know.
Kevin,
Kevin
Yeah.
gone,
I
bro.
think Kevin gone. But Kevin can
Nah,
tell you
I'm good.
He's still there.
I'm still.
He's
I'm
just
still here.
before
cameras
the
off.
round
I'm still.
table, before the
Kevin.
round table and before the interview, there was a round table.
Yes.
So yeah.
Yeah, man. We appreciate you,
And
brother Bruce. So I'm gonna do my piece and then we're gonna close out with Avery. Avery gonna close us out. Also, we gonna then we're gonna pray out like we do every session.
Yeah.
We're not gonna end this without prayer. We gotta cover it with prayer. So my takeaway with this is that men can be men. You know what I mean? We are fathers, whether we are whether our child is 1 year old or our child is 40 years old, no matter what, we're going to be fathers. It's our responsibility to be a part of the community. It's our responsibility to work, and to be is to be examples, not just by word but in deed. You know what I mean? Is to be authentic in our walk as fathers each and every day. Don't take it for granted. You Everything that you do, somebody is watching. And your child, no matter how old your child is watching you. And your life is important to your child. A lot of people say, I've heard it more times I don't know who my father is. It don't even matter to me. But I guarantee it will make a difference in your life if you knew who your father was.
Yes.
It will make a difference in Baltimore City if more
Oh,
fathers
definitely,
were
definitely.
involved in the community. The destruction in our neighborhoods. I go through some of the old neighborhoods that I grew up in. If the fathers was involved or the father figures was involved, I guarantee those neighborhoods would not be in that way, being at disarray they are now. You know what I mean? It is our responsibility as men to stand up and take back our communities, not just in our four walls that we call our home, but in our communities. You know what I mean? Safe Streets do a wonderful job. We
Nah. Go ahead.
Safe Streets, from the people that I know in Safe Streets, do a wonderful job. You know what I mean, working in their communities. We Are Us, they do a wonderful job working in their communities. You know what I mean? It's a lot of people that do a wonderful job working in their communities. You know what I mean? We as black men, we gotta do a better job about being fathers to just people. Other children, not just the people in our homes. That's my takeaway from the day. Brother Avery, you can close us out with your final thoughts, and then we're gonna
Yeah.
close out in prayer. Give us 2 more minutes, y'all. I'm sorry, 2 more
Oh,
minutes.
you guys need as long as you need us for real.
I just need 45 seconds. No, now my biggest takeaway honestly was how much of a role we play not only in our children's lives but in other, not just children's lives but just the black community in general, where the father in that community has a role to play and it's been absent for too long, which is how we got to where we are, and which is why some things are happening the way they happening, because whether they a father in their household or not, they weren't a father in the community.
Right.
Whatever that means for that community. Um, and that life can change. We just got to do something.
Right.
We got to be intentional about it, and we got to go do it, and we got to be consistent. So yeah, let's close out in prayer,
Hey man,
gentlemen.
say that last part.
We
We got
got
to
to
be
be
what?
consistent.
Thank you.
We got to keep doing it, even when it don't look right. Even when it look right, and then it stop looking right. We got to. All right, I ain't gonna preach now.
That's the key.
We got to be consistent. So these were some of the keywords we received from the public whenever we spoke about the project or got feedback about the project. Some of the general effects from the public from watching this were they felt a sense of relief. They got to release inner conflicts. They were able to evolve and change. They were able to restore, and they developed intentionality. So
Wow.
we thank y'all for y'all feedback here at Letters to My Father. We ask y'all to continue giving us feedback. Definitely stay connected with us as we grow and into our next season. We got some real big stuff coming up for y'all.
Yes.
Um,
Yes.
yeah, let's close as we do here at
Yes.
Letters to My Father.
Real
Yeah,
quick.
please.
Yeah. Like and subscribe to our Facebook channel, our Facebook page, our YouTube channel. We put Jarrell put a link into the chat. Like and subscribe. Share. If this bless you in any kind of way, if you got anything from this, like, share, and that's all we have. So we're gonna link arms like we normally do here at the table. And the brothers there, y'all can cross your arms, and we're gonna close out in prayer. Let's pray. Go ahead.
No, good.
Father God, in the name of Jesus, we thank you. Thank you for this opportunity for us to gather together as men. Thank you for this opportunity for us to understand just a little bit more about our responsibilities, Lord. We ask in namely, Father, that you just be with us. Let us continue to be strong in your word, Lord. Let us continue to be men, powerful fathers, be examples in our homes and our communities, Lord. That people, when people look at us, they look at us with intentionality, Lord, that they understand that we can change our communities if we stand up and we be strong in our communities. So, Lord, we ask for your help. We ask for your guidance. We ask for your protection over our communities and our families, Lord. We love you and thank you, and of all things, in the righteous name of Jesus, we do pray. Amen.
Amen.
Thank
Amen.
y'all so much for your time. This has been a wonderful, wonderful time. We went
Season
over.
3. Season
We
3.
went over. So be on the lookout. January, we will coming out January. We'll send out some promos for the dates and times for our January be coming up. We got some wonderful things coming up. We got an amazing interview with one of the people that I'm looking forward to. One of the most is amazing. We just ready for y'all. We thank y'all for your time. Thank y'all for tuning in. Y'all have a great rest of your day. Like
Y'all too,
and
man.
thank y'all for our participants. Thank y'all for the producers. Thank you, Jarrell. Thank you, Tony, Kevin, Avery, Bruce. Thank you for my executive assistant, Nari Collins, for taking care of everything.
Oh, okay.
For taking care of everything back behind the scenes, man. And it's just been a wonderful time. Thank y'all for everything, Lord. Thank you. Y'all have a great evening.
Blessings and
Right.
favor, man.
Later.